It's the new District e-moto by Land Energy. It goes 72 miles per hour and is made in Cleveland, Ohio. We're gonna see what it's like to ride in the District in the real world, check out the specs, and I'll compare it to my favorite gas-powered bike, the 100 horsepower Triumph Street Triple. I'm Paul from Rider Guide, and when I'm not testing scooters at Electric Scooter Guide, I spend a lot of time riding motorcycles. I've ridden over 2,000 of them, and I once won a motorcycle road racing championship, so this is like coming home for me. It's a street legal motorcycle if you want to register it, but the crazy thing about this, and the thing I love most about it, is that it kind of does everything. Depending where you live, you can lock it into e-bike mode and treat it like a 28 mile per hour e-bike, or go in moped mode and go 38 miles per hour. And the reasons you might want to do that is that neither e-bikes nor mopeds require a motorcycle license, again, depending on where you live. I've got my M1 license, so I'm going to be riding mostly in motorcycle mode today. But there's another way you can take advantage of the Jekyll and Hyde nature of this e-moto. You could use the modes to convince your significant other that it's just an e-bike. And if he or she doesn't believe you, have them take it for a ride. So Ramier's never ridden like a conventional motorcycle before, but he did ride the District over here from our starting point today. What do you think?
I think right now I'm officially a motorcycle rider because it felt, I don't know, it felt amazing. And Cody, when Cody first, you know, when he was giving me the tutorial on what to do and how it feels, he told me to start in mode 2, but I'll gradually move up to mode 3 because I'll get so comfortable that I'll be good with going with all the different modes. And the throttle response, he was right, it's so good. Like when I first put it to 3, I kind of clutched up a little bit. Like,
you were in mode 3, I thought so, because I saw you kind of take it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't look like mode 2, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the like 1 mile that it took to get over here, you're already bumped up into mode 3.
I actually hit it to mode 4 towards the end. And it's so responsive. Like you don't have to give it that much torque if you don't want to, or that much acceleration, excuse me. But once you rev it up, or you know, you feel real comfortable. I felt really good. Then when we got closer to this destination right here, it was, you know, bumps and all that. And it was taking the bumps really well. I felt real comfortable. Yeah, I feel like this is something I can take to my wife, like, cause she's always been skeptical of me riding a motorcycle.
Right.
Like, hey, this is an e-bike, but then, you know, get her on mode 1 and then get her on mode 2 eventually, and then herself switch it to 3. I think she'll be able to get it. So this is something that I feel that anyone with no experience should get on right away, and then you'll kind of get the groove of how a motorcycle works.
Yeah, because there's just not that much to it. I mean, usually on a regular motorcycle, you've got the clutch over here, but this is just a rear brake. And so, yeah, it's just, it's pretty straightforward. In fact, I would say more straightforward than riding a regular e-bike, because there's just no shifting at all. No clutch, no shifting. You just pick your mode and go. Yeah.
Yeah, even, so the footage you guys are watching me on the bike, it's a 360 that I held with my hand. I was nervous. Cody was nervous, like, hey, you sure you want to do that? Well, he wasn't nervous, but he was like, you sure you want to do that? But Paul was like, nah, you'll get it. Even with that, like, I felt comfortable. I felt like you always ride with 2 hands, but I always felt like I had a hand free if I needed to like flip down my visor, and it wasn't getting out of control or crazy. And it actually looks really good. Like for me, as when I'm riding like any PEVs, it has to look stylish. It has to look good. When we first pulled up, I was amazed by how it looked, and it looked really cool.
Yeah, and in fact, I think you might even look cooler on the Scrambler version of this, because it's a little bit taller and a little tougher looking.
But yeah, one thing I do have to get used to is it's not super heavy, but it being more like a motorcycle, you know, I just had to get used to like walking it back and then getting in the street. But once I got on it, yeah, I see the freedom that you have with bikes like these.
But for me, you know, coming from the motorcycle side of things, I'm surprised by how light it is, because I expect it to be like kind of hefted up off the side stand, but it just like, it kind of pops up and you can kind of move it around without even using your hands. It's just really easy to, you know, to park, and you don't lose your balance with it. But it's also heavy enough that nobody's gonna run off with it.
Like I like what you said about how you can ride it like an e-bike and then go to e-moped, and then you kind of get into motorcycle mode. That's actually like really beneficial for a rider. Like if I'm buying something, you kind of you cover all aspects. Like you don't have to have the M1, but then eventually if you want to step up to that, you can. So
because, you know, even people who are starting with an M1, you know, they a lot of times will start with a little 250cc motorcycle, and then you know, they get tired of that and then they move on to something else. And then, so I didn't even think of that, is that you're kind of limiting that 2-step process of going small motorcycle, big motorcycle, because this really does both. So. Yeah,
and even in with my bigger frame, it felt comfortable. The seat is nice and cushiony. Like, you know, I got a little cake back here, so this was pretty good. Yeah, I felt real comfortable. It's good.
And unlike a Super 73, because you don't have pedals on here, the Super 73s feel kind of goofy because you're, you know, if you do pedal, you're like, your knees are kind of coming way up in the air, or your feet are always like one way forward and one way back. And this is just, you know, you get your regular pegs like a motorcycle.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, look at me right here. Just boom. I'm on here and I'm just riding the street, and it just, I don't know if you've seen towards it now, like taking turns really much better. I don't know. It's something that you can, that beginners can get on. Like, if something that's beginner friendly, and, you know, more advanced riders can enjoy it as well, this is the machine.
Cool.
Because I guess, yeah, how many, Paul, you know, super motorcycle race champion over here, and then me, super noob at this.
And we both love it.
Yeah, we both love it. So.
Yeah, nice. So to get the district going, we turn it on. That lights up. I put up the side stand. And we get the nice chime sound, and then you have to make sure the kill switch is on. And now I'm in neutral, and I just need to select a mode to go. I'm going to start off in gear 1, and we're going to see what that's like. This is supposed to be e-bike mode, and it goes. They say 28 miles per hour, so let's give it a try. And yeah, it feels like an e-bike, not even a particularly fast e-bike. In fact, I'm about to get passed by one, so I'm going to take it up a notch. And let's go up to moped mode. There we go. That's better. And here we're going 29, 30, oh, and we're gonna hit traffic. Not sure I'm gonna be able to check the speeds in each mode today. All right, this is a little open road. 29, 30, okay, so definitely getting up there in speed in just in second gear in moped mode. So that's pretty cool, but all right, enough of that. Let's get into third gear. Now we're in the motorcycle modes. This should be about 13 horsepower and see if it feels really different. Oh yeah, oh, that yanks. Oh my gosh. That's got some go. Even in gear 3 out of 4, that really moves. Oh my gosh, that is pretty fun. All right, let me take it into 4. What's that like? Oh, this feels like way more power than I expected. Part of it's just because you've always got the power. In a gas bike, you're kind of waiting for the power to come on. And here, you're just not waiting. It just goes. Whoa, I'm still trying not to scrape on the ground. Oh my gosh, this road is amazing. Oh, this is so nice. What a day, what a day. The brakes are really nice. You know, it's a single brake rotor. And again, loving not having to clutch right now. Wow! I could play with this throttle all day. And it's, you know, it's chill too. Look, here's one-handed, don't do this, but you know, it's one-handed. And like, it's chill, it's like a motorcycle. It's very progressive. Okay, flip a U-turn. Oh man, little bikes go around corners so nice. Whoa! Oh man, it's just instant power. So good. Oh, this is good. This is very good. Oh, the handling, this reminds me of my old race bike. Oh man, it just tosses back and forth. So nice. I don't want to lean into it too hard. I don't want to reveal how fast I'm going. This road is amazing. Okay, man, these brakes are strong. I have to remember that. These are not scooter brakes. These are motorcycle brakes. You ask them to stop, they will stop. Okay, whoa, there we go. I'm oh my gosh. I love the throttle. It really reminds me of my race bike from back when I road raced motorcycles. Actually, the throttle response is better on this. Smoother and more predictable. The suspension, it's got tons of damping, and the handling is just amazing. You're gonna see that in a minute. We're gonna use the torque. Whoa, I almost wheelied. Here we go. Oh man, I hope I don't. Oh, it's such a nice neighborhood over there. And the great thing about an e-bike is I'm riding like a hooligan right now. I mean, I'm riding hard. Oh, but it doesn't really sound like I'm up to anything because I'm not making much noise, and I like that. Some people complain that they want them to make noise, and I would rather get away with stuff. And the throttle response, I mean, I'm in top mode, right? And so like one-handed, you just ease into it. I mean, it's so soft and so easy. But then you grab a fistful and yoink, oh, it just goes. So good. Oh, the foot pegs are super grippy. I can feel the grip of my feet right now. I can't stop laughing. I'm supposed to be telling you guys what it's like to ride right now, but I can't stop laughing because this is so fun. Oh my God. Whoa. You can see how fast I'm going like compared to normal vehicles right now. Okay, there's the brakes. Oh, what do I do? Do I pass him? Do I be a jerk? Or do I wait? I'm gonna wait. But it's just, yeah, super smooth and easy to ride, even in top gear. But without changing anything, without pushing any buttons, you know, I go from that to like super duper fun mode. Oh, there we go. I literally cannot stop laughing. This is so fun. Oh man. Oh, should I do a stoppie at the end of this? Am I gonna flip over forward? Let me try. Oh. Okay, no stoppie. Probably for the best. Oh my god, this is so fun. The District is priced at $7,000 to $9,000 depending on which size battery you get. And today we're testing the big battery version, which has a claimed range of 110 miles. So it's not cheap, but with an e-moto, you're getting something that could replace your car or a regular motorcycle. Plus, you can leave it in a parking lot and it'll still be there when you come back, unlike riding a high-end e-bike. The District feels like a real motorcycle, and many reviewers, including Sir Roster, were surprised by that. But what they don't know is Scott, the CEO of Land, he started out with gas motorcycles when he started Cleveland Cycle Works back in 2009. And then in 2020, he left that all behind and went electric because the technology for building and riding electric motorcycles was just better. And that's how we got here. And that's one of the things I'm going to test today is how does this compare to riding a gas motorcycle? Because I brought one with me. And so there are 4 modes. Mode 1 is like e-bike mode. It's got 1 horsepower and goes 28 miles per hour. Mode 2 is moped mode. It's got 3 horsepower and goes 38 miles per hour. And in modes 3 and 4, you've got 13 horsepower and 23 horsepower, and that's 17 kilowatts in the top mode. But the top speeds there depend on how you've got it geared, and we'll learn more about that later. So there are 2 different styles and 3 different battery sizes. The styles are street, which we've got here, and scrambler, and the difference there is you've got a taller fender and you've got knobby tires, and it really looks kind of different. The battery sizes are 1.8 kilowatts, 3.6, or 4.8, and that's what we're testing today. And with the largest battery, Land says it'll go up to 110 miles in the city, and then it's removable, so you can pop it out and charge it inside your apartment. And Land makes their own battery packs in Cleveland, which is one of the reasons why they changed their name from Land Moto to Land Energy, because they're really focused on the battery pack technology. All right, so let's talk about the hardware. So you've got a domino throttle over here. It's a full-on, motorcycle throttle, and you've got all the conventional motorcycle controls, your kill switch, you've got your turn signals down here, and your horn, and your high beams and low beams and all that good stuff. But what's different is the starter button over here, instead of starting the motorcycle, it changes your mode. So it took us out of neutral into 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And now that sound you hear is not even coming from a speaker, that's coming from the motor itself. And it's also giving us haptic feedback. You actually feel it in the frame of the motorcycle when you push the button. And it lets you know that it's ready to go. I love the look at the tapered bars. They're very motocross. And so that means you could swap them out for pretty much any motocross bar you wanted to use. And next up are the brakes. It's got Magura brakes front and rear. You've got your front brake on the right and your rear brake over here on the left, which is different from a motorcycle. You usually have a foot brake for the rear, but I really like having hand control because your hand is just more dexterous than your foot, so you get better control. And Magura brakes are really some of the best brakes you can get. I put them right up there with Brembo's, in fact, maybe even better than Brembo's. And I love the look of this headlight. The line from the turn signals continues right through the middle here, and it's really bright. It's got 2250 lumens on low beam and 3240 on high beam. And it's got premium spec components pretty much everywhere you look. It's got Pirelli tires front and rear. Land makes their own inverted fork for it, which feels really good. And it's got a Fox shock. This one's called an Air Evo, and it comes in 2 different heights, 30 and 32 inches. And this is probably the 30-inch version because I have a 32-inch inseam, and I'm standing about 2 inches over the seat. There are optional wheel covers, and we'll show you those on the website. There's one thing that's not optional, and that's carrying a passenger, because there's no way to put passenger pegs on one of these, but it is a great solo ride. So when you turn on your headlight, this little strip stays lit up all the time. And then your turn signals light up yellow, and they're sequential, look at that. And the whole thing comes with a 2-year warranty. So I did a quick survey of like other e-motos and some of the specs at around this price, and it looks like the fully spec District with the big battery, comes in at 242 pounds and 4.8 kilowatts. In terms of battery size in dollars, it comes out a little bit ahead of the other e-motos out there, and it's also true when you look at battery size and weight. So I expect that's gonna translate into a lot more range as well. So aside from the fact that I really like riding it, it also looks pretty good on paper. And since it's a full road legal, freeway legal motorcycle, it's gonna compete with the gas bikes too. And I rode my gas motorcycle down here to Santa Cruz today, so I'll compare some rough numbers for my Triumph versus the Land District. They're nearly identical in price. In fact, if you buy a new one of these right now, it costs about $1,000 more than the Land. And then range-wise, my Triumph in the city, I'll get about 132 miles on a tank, and the District gets about 110 in town, and that's with the big battery, of course. And even fully loaded with the big battery, it weighs 242 pounds versus 415, and you can really feel that when you're getting around the city, especially when you go to park it. Smaller is just more fun, especially in the city, and from stop sign to stop sign, you really have all the acceleration you need, especially because electric just has so much torque down low. And then on the other end of things, there's no beginner mode on my Triumph, so you just really shouldn't start riding on a 100 horsepower motorcycle, but starting out on something like the District is no problem at all. Stay with us to the end of the video, because I'm going to show you what it looks like when you buy a District online and find out what the out-the-door price is in California anyway, and we can see a bunch of the options as we go through there too. Or if you want to see the options right now, follow the link in this video's description and it'll take you to all the colors, options, and prices. Sadly, we don't get to keep this one. It was generously loaned to us by Land Energy, and we've got their VP of Sales with us today, Cody Devant. Cody, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, good to be here, Paul.
Great.
Appreciate you coming out to do the review.
Yeah, it's been a blast so far. I'm looking forward to do some more riding today. And so I guess the first question is I understand there are sort of different gearings that you can get for these and sort of different top speeds you'd expect. What's the standard gearing and top speed?
Sure, so these bikes come standard with a 19-tooth front sprocket. With that 19-tooth front sprocket, you're gonna get a top speed of about 72 miles an hour. We say like 70 plus, right? It depends on conditions. And with our optional 15-tooth front sprocket, which is what's on this bike, your top speed is going to be more like 53, 55 miles an hour.
Okay, great.
The other big difference though is really the torque. Okay, the power band on this bike is going to be from like 0 to 15.
Nice.
It's like a missile off the line, whereas the power band on the 19-tooth front sprocket is more spread out throughout sort of the spectrum of the top speed. And I'd say it hits between about 15 and about 35.
And so I'm going to show folks later, how the process goes when you order one of these online, but will these show up in dealers at some point, or are you going to stay with online ordering?
Absolutely. So we're growing our dealer network. In fact, we already have a few dealers across the USA. Our network is still kind of in its infancy, but we are going to go after dealer partnerships very hard this year.
Cool.
We know we have a product that is an experiential product. We need to get people on the bike to try it, and we're going to leverage the dealers to do that. So that's going to be a big part of our growth in 2024.
Nice. And then for those who do order online, what should they expect is going to arrive on a truck? Is it going to be on a pallet or in a crate, or they have to do a lot of assembly? How does that go?
Sure. So very little assembly. It's going to arrive on a custom pallet. And when you get the bike, the handlebars are disconnected. The front wheel, everything else is all set up and tuned and ready to go. All you have to do is attach the front handlebars.
Oh, wow.
So it takes maybe 15, 20 minutes at the most. And we give you all the tools to do it.
Oh, that's not bad at all. I mean, I've experienced a couple times where I've got something and there's like the front wheel's not on it, and you have to like get two people to lift it up on something. So this sounds like a lot easier process. And then that's great you mentioned about you really do have to experience this. I got to tell you, I'm going to do my best to describe it to you, but riding it is really something else. Are you guys going to be at the Electrify Expos this year?
We are. We're doing a handful of the shows. Actually, we're getting ready to be at the Orlando show this weekend, and then we're also planning on being at the show in Austin and a few others. Off the top of my head, I can't name them all, but we're going to be there. We're going to be doing demos.
Nice.
People definitely need to come by the booth and try the bikes.
Awesome. When somebody does order one online, like say if I order one this week, what sort of lead times do you have right now? How long should somebody expect for their Land Moto to show up?
Yeah, we have bikes ready to go, and we can ship these anywhere across the country in just 1 or 2 weeks. So if you order today, your bike could be shipping as soon as tomorrow, right? 24, 48 hours. And again, it's usually about a 1 or 2 week delivery time across the US.
So when you hit the brakes, I can feel the brakes are really strong. It's got the Maguras, but is there some regen braking in there as well?
All of the hardware and all the components are built in the bike for us to turn on regen braking. Right now, regen braking is not enabled on the bike. And the reason is we're still trying to get it just right. There's a lot of companies that just kind of throw the regen on there, but the feeling and the experience isn't in a place where we like it. So we're gonna get the regen braking just right. Nice thing is though, because all the hardware is already on there, and because you can do over-the-air firmware updates with our bikes, and because this is a software-defined vehicle, with a firmware update, we can enable this at a later date for all riders.
Nice. So it's kind of like Tesla, and I definitely agree with your approach there. I would definitely rather have no regen braking than bad regen braking, and then you just add it once you guys get it really tuned just right. That's awesome. We're looking a little bit into the future here, but do you know if it will be adjustable within the app, or is that still yet to be determined?
TBD.
Okay.
Yeah, TBD.
Yeah. There are a lot of e-motos showing up on the market right now. A lot of them can't be plated, and then some of them, even if you do plate it, is more of like an e-moped situation, and so you can't really take them on the freeways. Is this also freeway legal?
It's absolutely freeway legal. You're gonna get a title, you're gonna walk in and walk out, with a license plate, same way you would with a Tesla. But because of our unique firmware and our different ride modes, it gives a lot of optionality, right? Not only can you ride it on the freeway and it has the power to do that, but you can put it into mode 1 or mode 2 and ride it more like an e-bike. It can act like some of these vehicles you were talking about. So, the problem with some of the other e-motos in the space is they don't give the optionality for a license plate, whereas we do, right? So it kind of gives you the best of all worlds.
And to me, that's one of the biggest differences is, for me, I'm gonna ride it mostly as a motorcycle, so I would want to plate it. But for some folks, they don't have an M1 and they maybe just want to ride it in e-bike mode or in moped mode, and you don't need an M1 or a motorcycle license for that, depending on where you live. And so this is kind of exciting. And then for those who want to, start with that and grow into something, it's kind of like the gateway drug. You start off riding it like an e-bike and then move on to e-moped, and then when you're ready, you can go get licensed and move on to full-on riding a motorcycle. That's something I definitely can do with my Triumph, my regular gas-powered motorcycle. It's only got one setting, and that's just like 100 horsepower. I love the flexibility here, and I think this is gonna really help a lot of people get comfortable and get started riding electric. All right, well, thanks again, Cody, and thanks so much for letting me ride the district today.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Like I said, I appreciate you coming to Santa Cruz. Couldn't have a better day to ride.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, I'm sure I will. Let me wrap up my thoughts on riding the district today. This thing is a ton of fun. I'm sure you can hear me laughing in my helmet during some of those video clips. I just couldn't stop. This thing is amazing. The handling, the throttle, the way the throttle comes on, and the suspension is really, really good. If I'm riding it for a really long time, I'm sure you start to feel the seat a bit, but that's kind of true on any motorcycle. And this one, you're probably not gonna be covering like super long distances on, but I wouldn't change it because I love the way it looks. In terms of who it's for, I mean, we kind of covered that a lot, but I really feel like that's this bike's superpower, is that folks that are coming from an e-bike and are thinking about, they just want something more or something they could just use to replace their e-bike, replace a motorcycle, or even replace a car. I think this could do it. It's freeway legal, it's road legal, and it's a ton of fun. As far as would I change anything? I'm kind of at a loss. I'm usually not. I mean, usually pick things apart, but for what it is and what it does, I think they've done an amazing job. I could really see this replacing my regular gas-powered motorcycle for literally everything it does in the city, and maybe even some freeway use if I had the taller gearing. So as promised, we're back at my desk, and let's go ahead and try to order one, and we'll see what my out-the-door cost is. All right, so they've got the Scrambler and the Street version, and they're both the same price. I'm gonna go Street because that's what kind of rider I am. And then you pick a color, it's all the same price. I'm gonna go Seafoam Green. And next, we're still at $7,000. Now we get to the batteries. We've got 3 sizes, and I'm going to pick the big one, which adds $2,000 to the price, but that gets us the long range. And this is an interesting one. They've got the land brakes and coil shock. So you do have a coil shock option if you wanted to do that, but it's a free option to get the Magura brakes and the Fox air suspension, which I think is definitely an upgrade. So I'm going to go for that. And then now we pick our state. So I'm going to pick California and check out. Now here's where we get the option of shipping, which costs $650, or picking it up. The problem with that is we select pickup, and at the moment, the nearest pickup location to us is 2,200 miles away. So we're going to stick with shipping. And now let's go down. So now we get to registration. They have an option where they automatically register it for you. And with that selected, my out-the-door cost is $10,800. And that's going to vary a lot state by state. But if you register it yourself, then the cost is the same no matter where you live. It's $9,650 plus whatever you end up paying at the DMV. To find out more about the district from Land Energy, click the link down in this video's description. I'm Paul from Rider Guide. Enjoy your ride.